Welcome back, class 7. Today we are not doing that Microsoft interactive classes. Instead of that, a video has been made for the revision of chapter 1, tissues. Already I had started the chapter revision. So you know the definition of tissue is a group of cells that work together to perform a particular function. And in a tissue, the cells may be similar or dissimilar in shape and size, but all those cells will always work together to do one particular function only. So in case of plants, plants are made up of plant tissues, animals are made up of animal tissues. So in plants, there are two main types of tissue systems we had studied. The plant tissues are of two types. What are they? Meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Already we had done that plant tissues are of two main types. Number A, meristematic tissue, and number B, permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue is also known as meristems, and it is made up of cells which are actively dividing. Okay, throughout the life of the plant, depending on the location where they are formed, meristematic tissues are of different types like apical meristem, lateral meristem, or intercalary meristems. So first we will study about some of the characteristics of meristematic tissue. Already I had done, I remember it. Meristematic tissue is made up of cells which are actively dividing. The word meristem came from a Greek word meristos, which means divisible, and it is that part of the plant where active cell division takes place. The tissues provide new cells that differentiate into a specialized tissue for the development of organs. Some characteristics of meristematic tissue I had already told you to learn also in that interactive classes. Number 1, meristematic tissue have closely placed cells. The cells are very close to each other. Okay, if these are the cells, they are very closely packed without any intercellular space. With little or no intercellular space, the gap present between the cells is almost absent, or if it is there, it's very less. And number 2, the cells are more or less similar in shape, like all of them are spherical or round in shape, then all are round in shape only. So all the cells are similar in shape, they are very close to each other without any intercellular space or gap present between them. And number 3, they have a thin cell wall. So third point is, the cells are more or less, they are made up of living cells, means all these cells contains a nucleus inside it. Living cells means they have the nucleus present inside them. They can divide to produce new daughter cells, and each cell contains a dense protoplasm with a centrally placed nucleus in it. So these are the 4 characteristics of meristematic tissue. What are they? Number 1, so I have already talked about the characteristics of meristematic tissue. 4 characteristics, once again recall. Number 1, it is made up of cells which are actively dividing. Number 2, cells are almost similar in shape. They are similar in shape means all are spherical, all are round in shape, with no intercellular space or gap present between them. Or if it is present, it's very less. And the cells are living. Then the last point I said that they have a dense prominent, protoplasm with a centrally placed nucleus inside them. Protoplasm is dense and nucleus is present. Now, according to the position where they are present in the plant body, 3 different types of meristematic tissues are there. What are they? Apical meristem, the one which is present at the tips of root and shoot. Lateral meristem, the one which is present in the side. And intercalary meristem, the one which is present intercalary meristem. So all these 3 types of meristematic tissues are there. Apical meristems, they are found at the growing tips of root and shoot. They help to increase the length of the shoot system and the length of the root system. Then lateral meristem, lateral means side, they are found in the branch side of the branches or the trees, trunk. So they are called the lateral meristem. They help to increase the diameter or the thickness of the stem so that the plants can become fat. And the last one is intercalary meristems. They are found in the monocots at the base of the nodes. Node, you know, is the place on the stem from where the leaf will arise. So at the base of the node here it is present. Which meristem? Intercalary meristem. Alright. intercalary meristem is present at the base of the node. It helps to increase the length of internodes. Okay. Now next is permanent tissues we have to do. Already I started the permanent tissues also. So if I have to define what is permanent tissue, what is the definition? Permanent tissues are made from meristematic tissue only. The cells of meristematic tissue which have lost the power of division are changed into permanent tissues. So permanent tissues, if asked to define, then what should be the definition? You have to say permanent tissues are the plant tissues that have lost the power of division. Now what are some of the characteristics of permanent tissues? Number one, they are made up of group of cells which have lost the power to divide. Number two, the tissues have a definite their shape, form or size, and they are made up of either living cells or the dead cells. The nucleus is present, like if this is a permanent tissue cell, if any nucleus is there, it will be towards the periphery, means towards the side. Okay? It is present towards the periphery, not in the center, as it was there in meristematic tissue. The nucleus was present in the center of the cell. In case of permanent tissue, the nucleus is present towards the periphery or the side, boundary side. Okay? Now, permanent tissues are subdivided into two groups, simple and complex. Simple permanent tissues are the one which is made up of only one type of cells. They are called simple permanent tissue. The second one is complex permanent tissue. Those permanent tissue which are made up of more than one type of cells. Okay. So, I was talking about the permanent tissues of the plant, which is second type of plant tissues. Permanent tissues are those tissues which are made up of only one type of cell. The cells have lost the power to divide. And there are two types of permanent tissue, simple and complex. Simple permanent tissue are the one which is made up of only one type of cell. Only one type of cells are present in simple permanent tissue. Means the cells are similar in shape, size and carry out a specific function. Now simple permanent tissues are further divided into two types, that is dermal tissue and ground tissue. So if I have to divide it, it is divided into two parts, dermal tissue and the second one is ground tissue. Dermal tissue, just like we have the skin on our surface, the outermost covering of our body, skin is there. Similarly in the plants also, the outermost covering tissue of the plant body is known as dermal tissue, and it provides protection to the roots, stems and leaves. It is generally single layer, means made up of one layer of cells. Now epidermis is a dermal tissue that forms the outermost covering of root, stems and leaves. Epidermis in leaves particularly, like if I take a leaf, the outermost covering is known as epidermis. Okay, the outermost layer of cell that gives protection to the leaf is called leaf epidermis, and leaf epidermis is thin. It has a waxy coating on its surface. A wax-like coating is there. That coating is called cuticle, C-U-T-I-C-L-E. If asked define cuticle, cuticle is an oily or waxy coating present on the surface of leaves as well as some green stems. The function of cuticle is to prevent loss of water by transpiration. So it helps to conserve water in the plant body. Now next is upper and lower epidermis is there, like a leaf has both the parts. This is the upper part of the leaf, upper surface, that is called upper epidermis, lower one is lower epidermis. The lower epidermis of the leaf contains tiny pores through which exchange of gases occur, and they are known as stomata. Like this you can see, these are the stomata in which two bean-shaped or kidney-shaped guard cells are present. Okay, so they are present in large quantity on the lower surface of the leaf, and through these stomata, exchange of gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide occurs between the plant, leaf and the surroundings, that is into the atmosphere. Now next one is ground tissue. The ground tissue is the one which forms the bulk of the plant body, and they are responsible for providing mechanical support to the plant body. Now they are further divided into, this ground tissue is further divided into three types, Parenchyma, Chlorine and Sclerenchyma. So first one is Parenchyma tissue. Parenchyma tissue is made up of cells which has thin wall. The cells may be spherical or oval in shape, and the cells are generally found in all the soft parts of the plant like root, stem and leaf. Like leaves will contain the leaf parenchyma, stem will contain the stem parenchyma, roots will contain the roots parenchyma. Okay, but there are certain modifications found in this parenchyma tissue also. What are these modifications? Like in aquatic plants, we know that the plants will float on the surface of water. So what causes them to float? It is due to the modification of parenchyma tissue in which there are empty air spaces present inside the parenchyma cells that helps them to provide floating power or buoyancy. Similarly, Chlorine-Chymon, one more word is there, it is a modification of parenchyma tissue in which chloroplast is present. So if chloroplast is there, it means it will give green color and it will trap sunlight and help in photosynthesis. Now second type of ground tissue is Chlorine-Chymon. There is no place to write. Parenchyma, first one. Second one is Chlorine-Chymon, C-O-L-L-E-N, and third one is Sclerenchyma. So we are talking about the Chlorine-Chymon now. Okay, then next we are talking about the Chlorine-Chymon. It is also a type of ground tissue in which the cells are elongated or oval cells with no intercellular space, and the cell wall is thickened at the corners. Like here at the corner, the wall is thickened due to deposition of cellulose, okay, which is mixed with a substance called pectin. Now, where is this Chlorine-Chymon tissue found? Chlorine-Chymon tissue is found beneath the epidermis in stems and roots, just below the epidermis in stem and roots. And what is the function of Chlorine-Chymon tissue? It provides mechanical strength to the plant body. It provides elasticity and flexibility so that the leaves and stem can become flexible. Like even in strong wind, the leaves will not get detached or separated from the plant body. It is called elasticity. Okay, and this elasticity is provided by Chlorine-Chymon tissue. Now the third type of ground tissue is Sclerenchyma tissue. Sclerenchyma is made up of the cells which have very thick wall, and this thickening in the wall is caused due to a substance called lignin, L-I-G-N-I-N, lignin. The cells are made up of thick wall, closely packed. The cells are dead in case of Sclerenchyma. Dead cells means they do not contain the nucleus in it. Okay. Now, what are the two different types of Sclerenchyma tissue? The two different types of Sclerenchyma tissues are fibers and scleroids. Fibers, you know, fibers are the elongated cells. Cells of fibers are long like a thread with pointed ends, and they have simple pits, just like a jute fiber, cotton fiber is there. They provide mechanical strength, and they are found in the xylem and phloem also. Like xylem tissue contains xylem fiber and the phloem tissue contains phloem fiber. Examples of fibers are cotton and jute. Now next one is Sclerites. What is Sclerites? It is the second type of sclerenchymatous tissue which contain pits. The cells are irregular in shape. They have very thick lignified walls, and they provide grittiness and crunchiness to the fruits where they are present. So next we have to study about the complex tissue. In the next class we will continue with the complex tissue. You read this much and revise it, and then try to learn the question answers which is given at the end. Thank you.